They thrive on your tears, your anger, even your hatred. But there's one thing a narcissist can't stand, and it's not what you think. In fact, the moment you do this, their entire world collapses. Stay until the end, because what happens next, even they won't see it coming. And hey, if you're ready to master unshakable strength, hit subscribe to Stoic Citadel for the mental armor you need. The silent earthquake that shatters their world. Narcissists thrive on attention, whether it's love, anger, or even hatred. Any reaction from you is proof that they still matter. But what happens when you stop reacting? When the tears dry up, the messages stop, and the emotional turmoil fades into indifference? That's when the real shift happens. Not because you've declared war, not because you've moved on publicly, but because you've simply stopped caring. And for the narcissist, that silence is the most terrifying thing of all. Stage 1. Denial. They're just testing me. When Sarah first walked away from Mark, she didn't make a scene. There was no dramatic breakup speech, no final confrontation. She just stopped. No more replies to his late-night texts. No more arguments when he twisted the truth. No more defending herself when he painted her as the villain to their friends. At first, Mark didn't believe it. She's just upset, he told himself. She'll come crawling back like she always does. He waited for the explosion, the emotional outburst, the desperate plea for closure, but it never came. So he tested her. A vague Instagram story missed the old days. A random text, just checking in. A sudden appearance at her favorite coffee shop. But Sarah didn't react. Not because she was playing games, but because she was truly done. And that's when the first crack in Mark's reality appeared. Stage 2. Reasserting control. I can still pull them back. When silence didn't work, Mark switched tactics. He sent a long, emotional message. I've changed. I finally understand what I lost. He brought up old memories. Remember our trip to the beach? You were so happy then. He even apologized. I was wrong. Give me one more chance. But Sarah didn't respond. Because she had seen this before. The promises, the temporary kindness, the love bombing only for the cycle to repeat. This time, she wasn't falling for it. Mark panicked. His usual tricks weren't working. He swung between sweet apologies and sudden rage. You're so cold. You never really loved me. But Sarah stayed silent. And that's when Mark realized something terrifying. He no longer had control. Stage 3. Rage. How dare they not need me? When manipulation failed, the mask slipped. Mark couldn't understand how Sarah could just move on. How dare she? He started telling mutual friends that she was the problem, that she was heartless, that she had abandoned him. He painted himself as the victim, hoping someone would relay the message back to her. But Sarah didn't engage. His anger grew. He posted passive-aggressive quotes online. He flaunted a new relationship, hoping Sarah would see it and feel jealous. But she didn't react, because she wasn't watching. And that's when Mark's rage turned inward. Stage 4. Rewriting the narrative. I'll make them the villain. When rage didn't work, Mark rewrote history. In his version of events, Sarah was the unstable one. She was the manipulator. She was the one who had never appreciated him. He told new partners, "My ex was crazy. She just cut me off out of nowhere." But deep down, he knew the truth. Sarah wasn't cruel. She wasn't unstable. She had just finally reached her limit. And that truth gnawed at him. Because no matter how many people believed his lies, the one person whose opinion had once mattered the most, Sarah no longer cared. Stage 5. Emptiness. Without a reflection, who am I? For the first time in his life, Mark felt hollow. He had always defined himself by how others saw him admired, desired, needed. But Sarah had been different. She had truly seen him the good and the bad and still loved him. And now, she was gone. No more late-night arguments. No more desperate attempts to fix him. No more emotional fuel. He tried filling the void with new relationships, new distractions, but none of them gave him what Sarah had, because none of them really knew him. And that's when the terrifying question crept in. Who am I without someone to control? Stage 6. The search for a replacement. I need someone to fill this void. Mark jumped into a new relationship quickly. He told his new girlfriend all the right things. You're different. I've never felt this way before. But it was empty. Because she wasn't Sarah. She didn't challenge him. She didn't see through him. She just mirrored back what he wanted to hear. And deep down, he missed the one person who had ever truly seen him, even if he had destroyed that connection. Stage 7. Ego collapse. I don't know who I am anymore. Eventually, the facade cracked. Mark had spent his entire life building an image, charismatic, powerful, untouchable. But without Sarah, without anyone to reflect that image back at him, he felt nothing. He looked in the mirror and didn't recognize himself. The late-night panic attack started. The drinking increased. The new relationships fell apart. Because no matter how many people he surrounded himself with, none of them could fill the void Sarah had left. Not because he missed her, but because he missed the version of himself she had once believed in. Stage 8. The quiet ending. You moved on. They stayed stuck. Years later, Sarah was happy. She had rebuilt her life, new friends, new love, a peace she had never known with Mark. She didn't hate him. She didn't even think about him much. But Mark? He was still cycling through the same patterns, new relationships, new dramas, new attempts to fill the emptiness. Because while Sarah had healed, Mark had stayed exactly where he was, trapped in a loop of his own making. The real victory isn't revenge, it's freedom. You don't defeat a narcissist by fighting them. You don't win by making them understand. You win by walking away and never looking back. Not with hatred, not with anger, but with the quiet certainty that you deserve better. And when you finally reach that place where their words no longer sting, their games no longer hook you, and their existence no longer dictates your peace, that's when you've truly won. Not because they've lost, but because you've finally broken free. If this content resonates with you, I would like to hear about your own